It is the Transformers comic universe Bludgeon from Legacy Evolution with Evo Fusion. But he is not alone, though he's kind of beside himself, because this is a versus review. I am putting up this Bludgeon against the Revenge of the Fallen special Bludgeon. He's like, cool. We're going to go through both of these guys bit by bit, see if there's pros and cons on either of them, and see which one, if not both, are good for your collection. And you get to tell me in the comments which one's better. Be right back. So let's take a look at the Legacy Evolution version of Bludgeon and pop him out of his box. Now, I recently decided that if I'm not familiar with a toy's transformation, I'm going to take it out of the box first so I can investigate it thoroughly and get rid of this crappy piece of paper before I show it to you guys. But this guy, as you may have guessed or noticed, is actually a repaint of Tarn, which is a very interesting name. And he's got this secret bit of accessories in here, which I have a feeling are just like the ones that Tarn came with. Opening up the accessories, we have a sword, which is good for Bludgeon because he's really likes swords. We got the centerpiece for the two guns, which we'll just plug them on for the moment. And of course we have Bludgeon in its package. So let us free him from his plastic restraints. I dropped the nail clippers and, I didn't grab my wire snippers yet, so living dangerously. So there he is, the Legacy Evolution Tarn. We can attach guns to his back. I think that's how you do it. Or to his forearm, or over the shoulder cannons. He's got options. But whatever he's doing, he is holding his sword. Like I said, the mold, same as Tarn, but let's take a look at the details on it. Here you can see him from the front. He's got the resculpted head that, instead of looking like a Decepticon symbol, it looks like Bludgeon's skull face. Alas, poor Bludgeon, I knew him well. And you can see he's got these little antenna things on his back, which you can move up. And again, we can put the guns on the arm if we so prefer. Definitely a nice orange, green, and black color scheme with the maroon. He looks like Bludgeon from, the comics and, the original Pretender. Why he has a skull face as a Transformer? Well, why does Skullgrin have that face? If there's a story about it, I didn't read it. But a very cool figure, and I'm going to go through the posability very quickly, because of course he can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. He can kick very high forward, back. He's got a bit of the ankle swivels or tilts, whatever you want to call them. Bends at the knee, has this nice ball gouger right there, goes to the side, fully turns pretty much all the way around. Well, it turns and then it gets kind of stuck with that little lip there, but you can turn it pretty much any direction you want. So good posability there. Ta-da! He has twisting at the waist, not all the way around, but pretty much this part hits this and there's no going further than that. The arms go all the way around, bend at the elbow, swivel, can go out to the side, and the fists turn. And, I will not make this mistake again, the fingers are also jointed, so you can open up the fingers. But because of the way the thumb, which does not move, it's that groove, you can actually have the fingers open and the sword still securely in his hand. And if you prefer, you can store one weapon on his back, put the other weapon in his other hand, so he doesn't look quite as intimidating, but maybe he's in stealth mode. He's kind of like martial artist type, sneaks up on people. Again, looks good from the back. The head, of course, is a little stiff, but it turns. It's hard to get it all the way around because of the kibble in the back, but I'm sure if you really tried hard, you could do it. And you might break it, so I'm not recommending that, but there you go, Bludgeon, badass warrior. And there are different configurations you can do with the weapons. If you prefer, just have fun with it. You could even do shoulder mounted if you really wanted to. So cool figure, but let's take a look at the Revenge of the Fallen version. Now this guy looks like he's really into martial arts. He's got the little skirt in the front, big ass sword, he's got the skeletal face, and the arms even look a bit skeletal, like he's a skeleton warrior. And you can see the back view. He's got a big tank turret on his back. But what's interesting in that tank turret, if you open it, he's got another weapon. I usually like to put it in his other hand upside down. So he's basically figuring out all kinds of ways to slice and dice you. So a very cool looking figure. He's got the treads hanging down, to give it even more of a kind of martial arts look. I have to say overall, this is a really, really cool version of Bludgeon. I mean, even the original Pretender, I don't think stacks up to this guy. And he's got, pointed toes. However, when it comes to posability, he is not the best. I mean, you have to practically de-transform him to do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it doesn't even quite work. You're basically pulling out parts in order to do that. If you keep those parts in place, you can barely go off a little to the side. He can kick forward. Back is kind of blocked, so you can't really go back. The legs do swivel all the way around. There's no ankle tilt, but the foot can be moved back and forth, so you can have him stepping forward, and they're wide enough that you can put him in a pretty wide stance. As far as bending at the knee, it happens. Folding down these back plates helps, but of course the skirt in the front kind of rides up when you do that. And it reveals that he's got nothing there. There is no real twisting at the waist. In that way you would break him. The arms, they swivel, they bend at the elbow. They do not really turn. You can move this entire shoulder piece if you want it pointed forward, but that's kind of unwieldy. But overall, the arms move a good amount. The head itself can turn, and he can then basically be blocking his own vision. Still, despite those limitations, he is still a very cool looking figure. Now, side by side, here is the Revenge of the Fallen version. Here is the Legacy Evolution version. They're actually pretty close in height. The Legacy Evolution, if you don't count the little antenna on the back, just about 6 3/4 inches. If you don't count the turret, like 6 7/8 on this guy. But of course, the turret on his back makes him seem a little bit taller as well. But very cool versions of the character. Again, this one has much more of a martial arts aesthetic. And they both have swords. So they might do battle. If they met each other in real life, they'd probably not be happy. You have my face. You have my voice. Sorry, a little Superman 4 flashback there. So there they are, very cool. This one's a little more kibbly on the back, but they're still very solid bots. All right, let's put Bludgeon into his vehicle mode. Oh, and don't forget the Evo Fusion, putting the two guns together to be a super rifle. So there's Bludgeon in his tank form. You can see he's got the sword on the side. He's got the turret on top that can be moved side to side. Can also change the attitude a little bit, but not a ton. The gun's in the front, and basically he's a version of Tarn. But, a cool tank mode. This aesthetic does go with, of course, Bludgeon as well, and the colors are really nice. He's got the Decepticon symbol on his front bumper, or basher, or ram, whatever that is. And it's overall a cool figure. Doesn't roll, it slides, doesn't actually have wheels, but very cool. Now, let's take a look at the vehicle mode for Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon. So there is the Revenge of the Fallen version of Bludgeon in tank mode, and I have to say it's a really good looking tank mode because it looks like an earth tank. Now, this is the handle of his sword, and because it's rubbery, it can kind of bend, so it's not 100% straight, but it's a minor quibble. It's got a machine gun on top, two pods of missile launchers there, and overall, a very cool looking tank. Decepticon symbols on the side, well, that side and that side. And he's got treads. Now the treads don't work, but they do clip in, and they have wheels on them. He rolls a little bit, it's not bad. And overall, he's very, very cool. I might have had him facing the wrong way. You never know where which way he's gonna go. Of course, this can turn all the way around, which is nice. Pretty sure that's the front, but I'm no tank expert, sue me. A very cool vehicle. as you can see, looks very tank-like from all sides. I almost think that that's got to be the back, but then again, who knows? Looks like it's got some stuff on there. Don't know what it is. Now, size-wise, as you can see, the Revenge of the Fallen tank is considerably bulkier. It's a little bit taller than the Cybertronian tank. From the tip of the turret to the back, the Revenge of the Fallen is a little bit over 8 inches. If you just count the treads, it's slightly over 6. Whereas from tip to front, 5 3/4 inches for this guy. They're both cool figures. I mean, I do like the Tarn mode, but I gotta say there's something about this particular tank that just evokes the fact that it's a tank. And the cool rubberized treads are nice. And the accessories are pretty dang cool. So there you have it. The Legacy Evolution version of Bludgeon and the Revenge of the Fallen, which was later on turned into a version of Megatron, which I may end up showcasing him at some point. But they're both cool, but let me know in the comments which one you prefer. This one, which is very much more Earth Tank-like, but lacks as much posability, or the very posable Cybertronian tank based on Tarn. And I'll put links to both of these in the description so you can possibly get them if you'd like. And I really hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I enjoy making them. And while you're mulling these guys over, well, you can take a look at Tarn over here. See how familiar looking he looks. And we will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.